Hello guys, welcome to the channel. So in today's video I'm going to be recreating one of my video on how to sew an off shoulder top. I've actually been getting a lot of questions from that video and I decided to recreate another one that will be easy to understand and beginners friendly. I do hope this video is helpful, and in case you have any question, please leave it in the comment section and I will do well to answer them. With that being said, let's get started. So the first thing we are going to do is, on a plain piece of paper, we are going to be marking out the length of the top. This is completely dependent on what you want. I'm going to be using 22 inches for mine. After that, you are going to be marking your chest line, which is from the top line downward. And then when you're done with that, you're going to be marking half of your shoulder measurement. You're going to place your tape rule from one shoulder to the next, and then you measure it. Mine is 14 inches, so I divided it by 2, and that is 7 inches. And then the next thing to do now is you're going to determine where you want your off shoulder to start from. I decided to use 5 inches. You can go up by 4 or 6, just depends on how low you want it to be. And then you mark it. And then from here, we're going to be marking our bust line, our under bust line, and our waistline. So after marking that, you're going to use a straight rule and you connect it as shown. So when you're done with that, you're going to be measuring your nipple to nipple measurement. You put your tape rule on one nipple point and to the next. Mine is 7 inches, so I'm marking it on the length of the top, the waistline, and on the bust line. So after marking, I'll go down by 1 inch. While on the waistline, I'm going to be using a dart of 1 inch. So I'm marking 0.5 inches on both sides. So after marking that 0.5 inch on both sides, on the under bust line, I'm going to be marking that 0.5 inch on both sides. But this time around, I will still add extra 0.25 inch on both sides as well. The reason why I'm doing this is just to snatch that bust area so that the top will be very fitting at the bust area. So when you're done with this, you're going to connect it as I'm doing now. So after connecting, the next thing to do now is you're going to be marking your neck width measurement, how wide your neck is. I'm using 3 inches for mine, so while I'll go down by 1 inch, and then I'll connect it like so, drawing the shoulder line. So this will be the shoulder for this top. So now from that shoulder line, I'm going to be dividing it by 2, and then I'll connect it all the way to the chest line. That is the bust line, all the way to the bust line. So now on this line that we created, we are going to be measuring the dart that is on the under bust. Because we added 0.25 inch on both sides, the total dart now is 1.5 inch. So now I'm going to be marking that 1.5 inch on the off shoulder line. So in order to do that, instead of dividing the 1.5 inch equally on both sides of the line, I'm going to be using 1 inch on the point facing the armhole and then ½ inch on the point facing the center front. At the end of the day, we still have the same 1.5 inch, just that we don't want that center front to be too small, so we decided to make the 1 inch on the other side. So after doing that, we are also going to add another 0.25 inch on both sides of the line. The essence of this also is to snatch that area so that it will fit perfectly well on our shoulder. Then after doing that, we are going to be dividing our bust measurement by 4. When you measure your bust measurement, you divide it by 4 and then you mark it there. Then now the dart that is on that bust area, we are going to be removing that dart from that bust area. So we have to replace that dart back to the pattern, and that is why I'm marking the 1 inches back on the chest line. For the waist also, I'm going to be marking quarter of my waist, dividing my waist measurement by 4, and then I will still add back the 1 inch dart that we added while drafting the pattern. So when you're done with this, you're just going to connect it to the chest line. Then while for the length of the top, you are going to be measuring the round of the length, and then you divide it by 4 and you mark it. And since there is no dart there, we will not be adding extra inches to it. Now the next thing to do now is to measure the measurement from one bra strap to the next. This is actually the point that got a lot of people confused. So now when you measure that point, mine is 9 inches, so I divided it by 2, which is 4.5 inches. So from the center front, I need to mark the 4.5 inches. So now when you observe from that center front to the point where the dart starts from, is not up to 4.5 inches, and we cannot mark it on the dart because we are going to be cutting off that dart from the pattern. So now we are going to be marking it. The center, from the center front to the dart, is 3.5 inches. So that means we still have extra 1 inches to complete that 4.5 inches. So in order to do that, we'll mark it, and then we'll mark the extra 1 inches after the dart, because like I said, we are cutting off that dart from the pattern, so we cannot include it when marking the 4.5 inches. So when you're done with this, all you have to do is to use your armhole curve to connect it like so. And then also remember to add 1 inch sewing allowance to the side seam. 1 inch or 1.5, just depends on what you prefer. Then while for the neckline, the last video I used a round neckline, but in today's video I'm going to be using a sweetheart neckline. If you are a plus size person, I will advise you go for a sweetheart neckline, but you can use any neckline of your choice. So now you can go down by 1 inch, or you can go down by 1.5 inch. It just depends on what you prefer. And then from here, you're going to connect it like so. Unlike the round neckline that we curved it, this one we are going to be using the other end of the French curve. So the next thing to do now is you are going to be measuring the length of this dart, and then you also measure the length of this other side of the dart. If you notice, one is longer than the other one, so we are going to be reducing that one that is longer by half an inch. The other one is 5, while the other one is 5.5. So that means we are going to minus 0.5 from it, so that both of them will be equal. So by the time you are done with that, you're going to connect it like so. And also, since it's a sweetheart neckline, we are going to be curving it this way. So when you're done with this, you are going to cut it off. And then one important thing to do is to go down by 0.5 inch from that side seam, and then you connect it. This is just to ensure that our top sits well around the armhole, because off shoulder can be tight around the armhole area. So it's very important that you do this. And then for the back pattern, I've gone ahead to mark my chest line, my waistline, and the length of the top. I've also added my zipper allowance since it's the back that we are drafting. So from here now, I'm going to be marking half of my shoulder measurement, and then I'll connect it like so. And then I'll also mark the off shoulder points, the same with what we have in front, which is 5 inches. And then from here, we're going to be marking our nipple to nipple measurements. And then for the dart, I'm using 1 inch also for the back dart, and I'll connect it. I'll go down by 1 inch from the chest line, and then I'll connect it all the way to the waistline down to the length of the top. And then from this point, I'm going to be marking quarter of my bust measurement. I'll also mark quarter of my waist measurement plus the dart, which is 1 inch on that waistline. And then I'll mark quarter of my length measurements, my round length measurements. And then from here, I will just connect it, and I'll add 1 inch sewing allowance like I did in front. So now I'm going to be using the front pattern, and I'll place it on the back pattern like so, making sure that they are aligned at the waistline and on the chest line. When you trace the front neck, the front armhole on the back, you're going to use a French curve to curve it like this, and then you extend that line also all the way to the off shoulder line. While for the back neckline, I will use a round neckline. And that will be all for the tutorial. All you have to do now is to just cut it off. So I intend on creating another video where I will show how to sew the sleeve. In case you are interested, just leave a comment in the comment section. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next one. Please like this video. Bye.